Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today for an interview with Adriana Anders from France. I'm Diana Munoz Stewart, author of the Black Ops Confidential series. Today, we're talking about Adriana's upcoming release, Whiteout. It's coming out on January 28th. Adriana Anders, now let me just do this bio real quick, and then we can talk to her. Hold on. Adriana Anders is the award-winning author of the Love at Last and Black Canvas series. Under Her Skin, a Publisher's Weekly Best Book of 2017 and double recipient of the Holt Medallion Award, was featured in Bustle, USA Today, Happy Ever After, and Book Riot, and Loving the Secret Billionaire was a Romance Writers of America 2019 Rita Award finalist. Today, she resides with her husband and two small children on the coast of France, where she writes gritty, emotional love stories of the heart. Welcome, Adriana.
Thank you, Diana. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm really excited to introduce everyone to your latest series. So, and this isn't, there's a novella before this, right?
Yes, Deep Blue, which is in the Turn the Tide anthology.
Okay, and that came out?
In 2019. I think it came out February, March 2019.
Okay, all right. So book one of Survival Instinct series is coming out January 28th, 2020.
Yes, it's right around the corner. I'm so excited.
Did you want to give our audience a quick summary of the book?
Sure. So Whiteout takes place in Antarctica, and it is the first book in the series, but it's introduced a little bit in the prequel. What happens in the book is Angel Smith, who is the Antarctic Research Station's chef, ends up getting trapped in the station with the annoyingly handsome Ford Cooper, who's a chilly glaciologist. And the two of them end up having to run for their lives through Antarctica. They're being hounded by pursuers, and their lives are at risk because of the incredible weather situation down there. So it is a nonstop action adventure thriller.
It really was. It was nonstop. The tension, just the tension of, Antarctica, that constant threat was there. And, then there was the having to run for their lives, and you kept upping it and upping it. It really was very intense and incredibly enjoyable. I think one of the fun things was the comparison of, and you just mentioned Ford as the Iceman, and here he is in this, icy setting. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear what I said?
No, the entire connection has just gone down for like 10 seconds.
Oh no, can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you're looking a little blurry.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. It's my French internet.
Oh no. You know what? I probably should have told you to connect directly to your modem or router.
I can't. I don't have the little Mac adapter.
Oh, I know. I had to go out and get mine. But that's okay. Well, let's just move along.
Now on ahead.
Yeah. So Angel Smith and Ford Cooper are two really intense characters, and I love the fact that neither one of them was a doe-eyed kind of innocent. They've had their history, they have their baggage. And what was great about their story is somehow each of their baggages ended up being healing for each other when they were in the relationship. So I had to ask you, now, did you set that up, or did it just kind of come naturally with the writing of the story?
That's a great question, because it's something that I always want to ask other authors. I did not set it up.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, I'm definitely a very instinctual writer, more of a pantser than a plotter, as we say in the biz. I fly by the seat of my pants, but not entirely. I sort of plot key elements beforehand, but very, very sketchily, and then I go in and I write. The thing is that I always see these things in other people's books, but I never see them in my own. So when people say something like that to me, like, oh, well, they're human issues, sort of fulfilled each other's problems in the end and solved their issues. That was not even a little bit purposeful. It just happened. But I think I always compare it to driving in that before I was 16 years old, I'd seen my parents driving so much that I sort of knew how to drive. And I think it's the same way with storytelling. You've read so many books in your life that by the time you get to the page, you sort of do these things without even, or I sort of do these things without meaning to. And I don't think I'm the only one.
No, I think that's a great point, especially to people who are thinking about writing and wondering if they have what it takes. I mean, if you've read enough books, then you have, that inside of you instinctually, like you said, and, at least they can have that as a place to start.
I think so. I think we're all storytellers. And I think as readers, even more so. And what we sort of refine and develop as we write and we rework our books is more about craft. And it's also more about smoothing the story out. So a lot of the things that are great about a book didn't come in the first draft.
Right. Well, you know what? I think some things you do have to plan out, and I have to ask you, why Antarctica? I mean, it just seems like not a lot of people have actual experience there.
Yeah. So, well, the story of this book is that I had plotted a 3-book series for our publisher. And the 3rd book in the series was in Antarctica, I decided. And scientific expedition, they get caught there and, the bad guys are after them. And though the series wasn't picked up, that book sort of caught the eye of my editor. And I remember at some point a couple of years ago tweeting something about the mountain between us. That book where, 2 people get in a plane crash and get stuck. And I tweeted something about how every book I had plotted like in the past year was that book. And my editor just said, I want that. And so we plotted an entire series around this Antarctica story and the idea of, the remotest place on Earth, the hardest place to get to, and the worst place in the world to be stuck alone.
Right.
So that's what started it. And then I became obsessed. I love
all because of a tweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really intense. And you know what? I think the tension in this book really had me at a place where I'm not normally when I read, which is wanting to skip ahead, feeling that anxiety, like what is going to happen. I was rereading some scenes last night and I thought, oh my gosh, I remember just being so upset with you. Like, haven't they been through enough?
That makes me so happy, Diana. I love it. That's what I wanted. A lot of that. So, going back to sort of writing a book and how you put it together, a lot of that pacing stuff happened with my editor, who came back and read the book that I handed in to her and who added a lot of tension. So I had the events that happened were pretty much all set up as they are, but she played with the pacing and she saw it with an external perspective that helped me see how making them really happy and sort of coming together in one moment makes the next terrible moment even stronger.
Wow.
And she was really good at that. So that was, I feel like I learned a lot.
That push and pull, that was good. That was really good. I think she did an excellent job and you did an excellent job.
Well, she was definitely instrumental. I'm hoping the 2nd book has even more of that. So.
Oh, okay. So you're working on that now. When
Yes.
is that due out, the 2nd one?
We don't have a date yet. It's going to be end of the year or beginning of next year.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting. And you have a little bit at the end of, I don't want to give too much away, but there is, a little teaser for what could happen next. And I'm very excited about that. And actually, one of the people in our group had asked me to ask you, are there other books in the series? And if so, how many? Do you see an end to this? Is it just 3 books or?
So for now, it's 4 books.
Wow.
Right. It's a lot
That's
of
awesome.
well, I'm very excited because I got to have 5 hero/heroine combinations. Um, just people who are very different,
Mhm.
and sort of very exciting. So the next book in the series for now is called Evergreen Grave, and that takes place in Alaska, and it features Leo, who's one of the characters that
Oh,
we've met in the first book and in the
yeah.
novella. And she is a pilot, and
She's
all I
great.
can really say about it is that she crashes in Alaska. And then the next book is Pitch Black, and that takes place in Colorado in caves. So it's almost entirely underground, which will probably be nerve-wracking too. And then the last book, I'm not going to talk about as much because it's a little it's entirely dependent on what happens in the previous books, but that will take place in a forest on the eastern seaboard, sort of eastern United States.
And it's gonna be
Um,
red something, right?
yes, it's
We have
code red.
whiteout, we have evergreen.
And the hero of that book is one of the characters as well from the book. It's Vaughn, who's sort of the deepest, darkest, kind of scariest.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
A
excited.
lot. He's the one I can't wait to write his story. Just like I really wanted to write Leo's. I'm
Yeah,
excited to
I
write
can't
that.
wait for Leo's story either. And I have to say, this was such a fantastic book, and I cannot wait for this entire series.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's one of the best books on in the most intense and tension-filled books that I have read in a very long time. And I think that is a huge skill. I'm super impressed with you and with your editor Mary, and that it turned out wonderful.
Well, thanks, Diana. That's good to hear, especially from you. It took a long time and a lot of energy. So I'm glad
Well, I
it paid
can't wait
off.
for the next one. And I have to say, thank you so much for joining. That was already, you know, our time is already up. It went so
Oh, excellent.
quickly. I know it went so fast. But thank you so much for joining me here today. And January 28th is Whiteout is coming out, so make sure to pre-order now. They can get it. It's everywhere, right? It's
Yes. And it's on
okay.
audio, and I think it's even at Target.
Oh, okay, fantastic. That's great. All right, well, congratulations on your release,
Thank
and
you, Diana.
thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.